Director of Region 2 of the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. So since there's some people who are kind of new in here, I'll give you guys some context on that. The Student Senate for California Community Colleges is a 10-year-old organization. We are the official body that represents all community colleges students in the state. So we're recognized by the Secretary of State to represent 2.3 million approximately students in the state. So we have a huge constituency. We're divided up into 10 regions going from north to south. So y'all are in Region 2. Region 2 includes Sacramento, Lake Tahoe, Napa, Marysville area, Mendocino, Napa, and Solano. So it's a really big region, about 180,000 students. I'm the chair of that region, and you all are within sort of my region. So the way that we're a 501c3 organization, and our task is student representation, representing the students to the legislature, to the statewide chancellor's office, and to also helping the local student organizations be effective in representing their students like at the local level. So we have a conference every semester. It's called General Assembly, and at that conference, every school gets one vote. So we usually get, there are 114 colleges in the state, community colleges. We usually get about somewhere between 70 and 85 colleges to show up, so pretty decent attendance. And at General Assembly, essentially what we do is we vote on resolutions. So people, student governments, submit resolutions to us, and then they are voted upon. So I authored a couple of resolutions, and it will be voted upon at General Assembly. So I'll go ahead and get into my presentation. Any questions so far? Feel free to stop me at any point. I can kind of go on and on. So,
how many community colleges did you say are in that region? So
Region 2?
You said 70 or 80 come, and you said a number of
114. There are 114 colleges in the state, community colleges. So it's to get into a little bit more detail, it's actually not. It doesn't necessarily have to be a college that sends a delegate. It could just be an independent associated student organization. So like Woodland Community College has a Lake County campus, but it has a separate student government from Woodland Community College. So both of those each get to send one delegate. But around 114 would be the number of how many colleges or student governments there are in the state.
Cool.
Generally. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking me a question. Okay, so we have General Assembly coming up this November 11th through 13th. It's going to be at Lionsgate Conference Center here in Sacramento. That did not form out well. Yeah, so it's in Sacramento, which is really convenient for us up here in the north. For the last, there was a time when there was about 5 times in a row in Los Angeles, which made it very difficult for us northern schools to get down there and participate. But luckily it's up here in Sacramento. We really fought to make sure that it could be up here. So y'all don't need to worry about hotels because you're within 50 miles of the location. So the prices are, registration is $295 for non-delegates, and then for the delegate from each college it's $190. Which is pretty pricey. It's frustrating that it costs that much, but unfortunately that's just what has happened. Conference centers aren't cheap, and because we don't have our own insurance, we have to go through the Chancellor's Office insurance, and it really drives up the cost, unfortunately. But we have some really great scholarship opportunities to cover the cost of attendance. So we have allocated 10 scholarships that will be selected at a future date, and that will cover the cost of one delegate and one either advisor or a or a student who's not a delegate, essentially. And the deadline for submission of the scholarship is Friday, which I guess is tomorrow, right? Yeah, I'm in a time warp right now. Midterms just got done. And then the deadline to register outright is November 7th. So it does fall on Veterans Day, which I believe is Friday the 11th. So we will be honoring our veterans that day. We're going to have the color guard there. And we're going to make sure that we honor the veterans on that day. Unfortunately, we would prefer not to have it on a holiday weekend, but we have a hard time getting conference centers as a student organization. So here is a rough schedule breakdown. I know it's kind of overwhelming, but it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So registration starts at 10 a.m. Welcome and lunch in the state of the SSCCC. So we have a really awesome president named Courtney Cooper, and she'll be giving kind of like a state of the union, but it's state of the SSCCC. So, and then we have breakout sessions. So, does everyone know what breakouts are, or does anyone not know what breakouts are? You don't know? Okay, yeah. So usually at conferences, a breakout is basically where you you can break up into different groups on your special interests. So like, we'll have during this breakout session, we'll probably have 3 or 4 different breakouts you can go to. Maybe one is going to be like women in leadership, another one on textbook affordability, another one on developing your leadership style or interacting with your advisor. So different topics, and then it's up to you to go like, okay, well, which one do I want to go to? And maybe you would want to work out with your school, like, we'll send some people to this one and some people to this one. That way we can like gather up all the information. And then we go into our first resolution session. So resolution session is where we actually vote on the resolutions. So we have 40-something resolutions that have been submitted throughout the state, and each school gets one vote on it. So those resolutions, if they are passed, become guiding documents to the statewide organization, and we implement them, or at least we try. We try our best to make sure that they're implemented. So, I know it's kind of abstract, but to make a concrete example, a resolution that was passed a year ago was, it was a resolution that called for the Student Senate of the community colleges to advocate for a bill that would allow homeless students to shower at their college if they're in good academic standing. So we took that resolution, our Legislative Affairs Department, which is a department within us, went and found an author in the Capitol. We found someone to author it, and then we shepherded that bill through the legislature, essentially doing lobbying, but there's a difference between lobbying and advocacy. You don't get paid for advocacy, so we do advocacy. But we got that bill all the way through the legislature, we got to the governor's desk, and he signed it, and now that is a law. And community colleges throughout the state are now going to be mandated to figure out a way to provide showers, if they have shower facilities, to homeless students. So that's what resolution we have, right? It's awesome. That's the first time we've ever gotten a bill passed. And it's not easy to get a bill passed, let me tell you that. But anyway, kind of good. So yeah, go ahead.
For the votes for a resolution, is it just like a majority rules type of thing, or is there a certain criteria to passing?
It's a simple majority to pass a resolution, and then we use regular Robert's Rules of Order when we're out doing resolutions. We don't allow amendments on the floor to resolutions, so pretty much it's resolution. Well, the rules can be suspended. If you guys don't know that, you operate by Robert's Rules of Order, but there can be a motion made that says, I move to suspend the rules to allow amendments. It's kind of frowned upon because then you get amendments, and it takes a really long time. But essentially, it's simple up-down vote. Typically, the way it goes is there's a mic for pro, like if you want to speak in favor of the motion at hand, and then there's a mic for con if you want to speak against it, and then there's a parliamentary procedure mic if you have like a point of information or any sort of parliamentary type. It's a real spectacle to behold, honestly, because you have probably over 500 students in that room, and everyone's watching, and everyone's lining up to talk and debate on this issue. It's honestly, it's really exciting. It's direct democracy actually happening. Okay, go ahead, Ed.
So for delegations, is it just the delegates talking, or is it open forum?
Only delegates may vote, and only delegates may make motions, but anyone is allowed to speak. This is a meeting that is subject to the Brown Act, and the Brown Act mandates that the public is allowed to speak on items. However, sometimes discussion is cut short because people move the previous question, which essentially moves you straight to voting on the item. So that's the general resolution sessions. So there's 3 of those. There's 3 resolution sessions. Then we have special interest meetings at 5 p.m. on Friday. So that's like special training. So if you want to learn about shared governance, like how do you be involved or effectively be involved at your college in like say academic senate or like any of the other decision bodies at your campus, and also advocacy such as like legislative advocacy. How do you be a good advocate at the Capitol or maybe at your city hall or wherever advocacy takes you. Dinner's on your own. We don't provide dinner. And then there's an ASO mixer, which is basically just like, hey, let's get together and just talk and like network, basically. Because one of the best things about conferences is networking, right? You meet people, you get motivated because you hear about what they do at their college. So let's see. On Saturday, we'll have breakfast with your region director, so that's me. There's 2 other regional directors. There's Luis Jimenez from Sac City College, you all may know him, Legislative Affairs Director, and then Joseph Maroney from Mendocino College. So then we have resolutions again, meet your region, so we'll have a region meeting there. Again, so the region is the regional subdivision of just those colleges in our area. Then we'll have general session and lunch with, so we have a keynote speaker, the chancellor of the entire state. His name is Eloy Ortiz. He was just selected by the Board of Governors for the whole state, and he's going to be addressing us. And we're hoping to get additionally maybe a legislator, but we're still tentative on that. We'll have an update on our legislative packet, so sort of what we've been doing legislatively in the last year. We got 5 bills to the governor's desk last year, and he vetoed 4 of them. It's heartbreaking. Another breakout session, so again, you pick your topic, lots of interesting topics. And then special interest meetings, dinner on your own resolutions, but special interest meetings, so that's for, we have caucuses. So if you don't know what a caucus is, basically it's a interest group within the organization. So within the SSCCC, we have special interest groups, caucuses. We have the Black Caucus, we have the Latino Caucus, we have a Spectrum Caucus, and I think those are all the Veterans Caucus. That's one that exists as well. So that's a time for those caucuses to meet and sort of talk about issues specific to their interests. So we open that up for people. And it's up to you if you want to attend those. On Sunday, pretty much we covered all this already. The only thing is participatory governance. So sort of updates from us as an organization on what we've been doing. And then a nice box lunch because you can't eat rubber chicken every day. If you guys don't know that joke, like every conference you always have the chicken, and you have the potatoes, and then you have like the weird broccoli. And it's like every lunch is like that. So on Sunday we'll have a box lunch because a lot of the colleges are going to be leaving. So yeah, that's the schedule. Any questions? It's a lot of information, I know. This is our last year's president, Dahlia Salem, now a UCD student. And another guy, this is Kevin Savo. So we've pretty much already covered this, but it's a biannual meeting. We only meet twice a year with all the colleges. Great networking, training, and an opportunity to make statewide change. So like an idea that you have could become a law someday, or it could become a policy change that is affected across the entire state. Okay, well, this really should have been earlier in the presentation.
You covered it.
Yeah.
You had it again.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. So some of the I'm leading a couple of resolution or breakouts. One of them's on textbook affordability and grant opportunities. Yeah, go ahead, Evan.
In the future, I talked about it at SSCRC and others agreed to include presenters. Is it possible that after the event, everyone that hosts the presentation, it goes onto a central file that's shared to everyone?
That's a good idea. Yeah, I think we probably can do that. We use Google Drive for everything.
Yeah,
So it's pretty simple. We'll probably just drop it in there.
make sure I'll keep in contact with you so I can follow up.
Yeah, definitely if you could remind me. So again, the delegate is a person who basically represents the college. That is your vote as the college. So the resolution submission date has already passed, but the way it would work, maybe for next General Assembly, is you write a resolution, you look for a sponsor. So Student Senate here at Cosumnes River College could sponsor a resolution. It has to be done in a meeting. There has to be minutes to that effect. You could also try to get it sponsored through the region. Our region is sponsored 4 resolutions. The caucuses can also sponsor them, and then the board of directors themselves can also sponsor resolutions. I haven't really talked about the board of directors, but there's the General Assembly, which is made up of every college in the state. Each college gets 1 vote. Then there's the board of directors, which is made up of 30 members, 3 members from each region. I'm a member of the board of directors. That's why I'm a regional affairs director. And we meet once a month. So we're kind of like a bicameral system of government. We have the General Assembly, where the whole state is represented, and then we have a smaller body that is the board of directors. And we're sort of the ones who try to implement the resolutions that are voted on at General Assembly. So why come to General Assembly? All these reasons. I've gone through them all. But really, I mean, the best reason is because it's the student voice united. I mean, there's an energy there that, there's always, of course, anytime you have democracy, you have drama, so that's exciting. But it's democracy happening. There's not a lot of, instances where you can really see participatory democracy happening, especially on the student level. So this is it's difficult to describe. Tips, yeah, if you authored a resolution, I don't think anyone other than David here, no one else did, but come prepared. Read the resolutions in advance so that you know what you're voting on if you're the delegate, because you should probably have gotten input from your constituents before you came to General Assembly, because you shouldn't just be voting what you think is a good idea. Ideally, it's what you've gotten input for. Dress business casual to business formal. You don't have to wear, some people wear bow ties and dress up real nice, other people, slacks. And then we have a code of conduct. So obviously you need to abide by the code of conduct. Any participant has to sign that, and you can go into that. You can read through it, but it's important that you follow it, because our credibility as an organization is on the line. We've had some incidents in the past where, particularly with alcohol, students in hotels with alcohol, it gets out of hand, and so we have a strict no alcohol policy for anyone who is staying in a hotel or participating in General Assembly that weekend. Kind of all the ones that have been passed. One of our problems is we have a lot of good ideas, a lot of resolutions get passed, but then ultimately the board of directors is only 30 students. And after General Assembly, the students, there's not everyone continues to participate. So we're 30 volunteers representing 2.3 million students trying to implement large-scale resolutions. So ultimately, and our advocacy work is completely unfunded. We do it on a $0 budget. So I think I've definitely gone over my time. But if anyone has any additional questions, you can ask me now or email me. I can give you my email after. Thank you.